Well, if you will oblige us, we have two more questions for you. And this is a question that actually came in a number of months ago from a few of our supporters. The question came in through the info LaRouche pack at gmail.com, asking what your thoughts are on the new Pope, Pope Francis. And given his most recent statement, I would like to go into our archive of questions and raise the question again, because on May 16th, Pope Francis made a very remarkable statement, and in it, he made a point about that you often make about monetarism, in more obviously more theological terms, that money has to serve, not to rule. He said, he began his speech by saying, "We can only praise the positive achievements which contribute to the authentic welfare of mankind." But he goes on that there are certain pathologies that are increasing with their psychological consequences. Fear and desperation grip the hearts of many people, even in the so-called rich countries. Quality of life, enjoyment of life, indecency, violence, poverty, all of those things are becoming more evident. One cause of this situation, he says, in my opinion, is in our relationship with money and our acceptance of its power over ourselves and our society. Consequently, the financial crisis which we are experiencing makes us forget that its ultimate goal is to be found in a profound human crisis. In the denial of the primacy of human beings, we have created new idols. The worship of the golden calf of old has found a new and heartless image in the cult of money, and the dictatorship of an economy which is faceless and lacking any truly humane goal. And I'd like to continue, because I have not seen a leading figure aside from yourself give statements like these. He says that the worldwide financial and economic crisis seems to highlight the distortions of rich and poor, and above all, it lacks human perspective. It reduces man to one of his needs alone, namely consumption. Worse yet, human beings themselves are nowadays considered as consumer goods, which can be used and thrown away. We have started a throwaway culture. And he says, in circumstances like these of today, solidarity, which is a treasure of the poor, is often considered counterproductive, opposed to the logic of finance and the economy. While the income of a minority is increasing exponentially, that of the majority is crumbling. This imbalance results from ideologies which uphold the absolute autonomy of markets and financial speculation, and thus deny the right of control to states, which are themselves charged with providing for the common good. So, with that statement, I'd like to go back to the archived question. What is your view of the new Pope?
No. Well, it's not the new Pope. That's not the question to ask. It is the new Pope because he's doing something, but it's not him. The point is, it's negative. The issue is negative. It's not positive. It's not comparative values, the usual kind of ethics. The point is, people today are generally becoming more stupid and more corrupt than they were in the previous generations. Now, this is not an unusual thing in the overall history of mankind. The oligarchical system. Look, for example, take Europe. You usually trace Europe from Rome, the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire, you got a Venetian army empire came up out of that, the same succession. From that, then you got the next empire, William of Orange's empire. which is this extension of the Venetian system. Now, the British Empire, which controls much of the world, is in the same character. The problem is not that people have failed or institutions have failed per se, just because they were institutions. The problem is that we do have an institution, the oligarchical system. Now what's happened is the oligarchical system is now on a rant. It's on a real rant around the world. It's destroying everything in sight, corrupting everything, ruining everything. We're going to probably invent 6 new sexes in the coming year or something like that. This is the kind of direction we're in. We're in a direction in which the governments that rule over us are impossibly corrupt and degenerate, which the institutions are becoming more and more degenerate, that everything that has authority is becoming more and more inherently corrupt and degenerate. Along comes a pope who realizes that the earlier one was not controlling the job very well. And he comes in and makes a very simple statement of a type of philosophy which has been met in Christianity and otherwise repeatedly. So this is not a mystery. What you are, you're in a morally degenerate culture. And all this Pope is doing is going to precepts of Christianity and some beyond Christianity, which are actually the opposite view. The defense of humanity, the defense of what human beings are. I haven't heard from him any great stroke of genius in this design, but I have seen in that, particularly that one report, which is of some length, the details are all there. The essential figures are all there. He's simply saying, cut it out. Cut it out. And what he affirms, the manner in which he speaks, the manner in which he argues, the substance for which he argues, are highly relevant things. And they go to the struggle of mankind against oligarchism. And what you have is you have the worst, most stinking, most degenerate oligarchical system the world has ever known. And it's centered largely in Europe. It's centered in particular in the personality of the British Queen.